here's the big question. You're interested in value investing and valuing and evaluating businesses on a deep level, but you don't know how, even after researching for hours, probably dozens of hours, hundreds of hours on the internet, and because nobody else shows you how to do it. This podcast has all those answers and much more about value investing and finance. My name is Jason Rivera. Welcome to Value Investing in Your Car. Hey, Jason here. In this episode of Value Investing in Your Car, I want to talk about the idiocy of short-term business thinking and how you can gain a major, massive long-term competitive advantage over other people if you think long-term. Before we get to that, though, I need to let you know that this video is part of the Value Investing in Your Car series, which is a top 15, as of 2019, voted a top 15 value investing podcasts in the world. You can listen to it on all major podcasting platforms for free: Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, and more. If you want to listen to this video and other videos in this series as a podcast, make sure to do so at your favorite podcasting link. Okay, so 2 weeks ago, I had a call with a client, and we talked about a bunch of things. Some of them I talked about in the capital allocation video. Investments, expenses, and capital allocation. I'll link that below for reference to this video. Also in that video, we talked about the importance of long-term thinking. One example we talked about specifically is investing in yourself. I don't view investing in myself as an expense. I view it as an investment in my long-term growth and helping me get to go where I want to go, or getting me where I need to be so I can get to where I want to go. And then we talked about some specific examples of that, specific programs I've invested in myself, specific programs he's invested in, stuff like that. I have a real world example today of a situation I ran into last week that shows you how silly it is to think in a long term or be a short-term thinker. How silly it is to be a short-term thinker when it comes to growing your business specifically. So in my businesses, I started using QuickBooks last year. Did a pretty decent job of it most of the year until I had to add some transaction manually. Things got a little janky, and I'm looking for QuickBooks. I asked them, they have a service where they will do your bookkeeping for you. I don't have time to do it anymore. I don't want to do it. I don't like doing it, but I need up-to-date numbers so I can make better business decisions. So I set up a call with them, told them what I need to do, said they could go back and redo 2019's numbers, give me up-to-date numbers, and get me so I can make the right business decisions. For $200 a month, I didn't think that was a bad cost. I mean, of course, again, I don't want to pay that, but I view it as an expense, or I view that expense as an investment, not only in my mental health, because I hate keeping the books. I don't do it. I procrastinate when I'm supposed to do it because I don't like doing it, and I don't do it well, especially when it comes to adding costs manually. Sorry if you can hear that. I have some sandhill cranes that are nesting behind my house, and they are making a lot of noise right now. So I'll apologize if you can hear that. Great. They'll catch up my books. They'll do all this. They'll set me up with a bookkeeper, and I'll get up-to-date numbers. Fantastic. About 5 business days later, I get an email. Said that they couldn't find a bookkeeper for me because I had too much work to do in my books to catch them up to date, which again, we talked about. They said that was fine. So they didn't offer any other options. They just said, we can't handle your books at this point. And when you get your books up to date, then you can come back to us. Then we'll be happy to, I think the wording was, we'll be happy to do your bookkeeping for you. Problem with that thinking is, I'm going to go to the competitors now to get somebody to do my books. So they've lost probably any future business from that side of things, which again, $200 a month. They potentially, on which competitor I go with, will lose my a QuickBooks subscription, which is 40, $50 a month, so $250 a month total. Plus, again, I'm going to one of their competitors now who will be getting that revenue, that profits, that revenue. And I need this done badly, not only for business purposes, but also for taxes. So if they would have said, you pay us a one-time fee of $500, and then this will cover the first month, and then to catch up, then from then on you'll pay $200 a month, I would have even said yes to that. There wasn't even that option. There was no creativity whatsoever. There was no thinking. There was just kind of a bland statement. We can't do this, and you can come back. We're happy to have you back when you get your books up to date. And the books, they're not that messed up. There's should be, off the top of my head, maybe 15, 20 things that I have questions about. Other than that, it's all automatically brought in from the data feeds through my bank accounts: PayPal, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Capital One. I think those are the bank accounts I have and use for business stuff. So there was maybe 20 things max. Oh, let's go conservative. Let's say 30 things max that caused them to lose out on upwards of $250 a month from me. And they're probably doing the same thing to other businesses as well. So, and I get that it's going to take time up front to do it. I don't get the lack of creativity. Again, if they would have said, well, we're going to charge you a $500 fee, one-time fee to catch your books up, I would have said okay, because I don't know how to do it. I even told them on the phone, I was like, I've tried, I've looked up stuff online. I don't know what the hell I need to do to fix these problems. I need help. I literally said this to one guy on the phone that I talked to on QuickBooks. And he said, okay, we'll take care of you and all that. And then I got this other email and said, we can't do that. So it's just funny to me. And again, this is a pretty new, well, let me back up. From a marketing perspective and growing your business perspective, this is a relatively new thing that I've learned about specifically from the, sorry, I had some feedback there. Specifically from the likes of Jay Abraham, mostly talks about lifetime value of the client is the most important number you need to know, because then you can spend XYZ amount of dollars. Let's say your client spends $1,000 with you over the lifetime of their membership with you. That means that from a marketing perspective, you can spend up to $1,000 to acquire that client and still break even. So from this perspective, it's relatively new. I've learned, again, about marketing for the last 3-4 years, and this is a relatively new thing. But just from the Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger perspective of things, this doesn't make sense to me. Again, in terms of the time, if it's going to take an enormous amount of time, be creative and charge me another fee, or be creative and they could even, from a marketing perspective, they could even eat the cost up front, not charge me an extra fee. Say, hey, this is going to require extra work, but we're still going to charge you $200 a month. We're going to catch you up just because we value you so highly as a client. That would make me more loyal to them in the long term if they said something like that. So you could even say something like that if they didn't want to charge me a $500 fee up front. But getting back to the Buffett thing, just from the long-term perspective, it doesn't make sense. That's how Buffett, and again, I know this is a different mindset, long-term value investing, just thinking about the long term. I get it. It's a different mindset completely. Most people think in the short term, what they want now is what they want, and they go and get it and whatever. I understand. But from my perspective, it just doesn't make any sense, because this is how people gain long-term advantages over other people and other businesses, is they concentrate on the long term. They don't care about, for example, in the investing arena, they don't care about quarterly earnings reports. They care about long-term shareholder growth, long-term operating profit growth, long-term ROIC growth. They don't care about things like we beat analyst expectations in this single quarter, or we failed to meet analyst expectations in this quarter. You don't see that. You don't see Buffett talk about stuff like that unless he absolutely has to, like net income for the quarter or period or whatever. But that's thinking about in the long term and planning and working towards the long term and educating yourself, growing skills and all that kind of stuff, growing towards the long term is how you gain a huge advantage over time over other people and other businesses. So this makes zero sense to me on several levels that we just talked about. There are several ways they could have helped me with this problem. And again, I went on the phone and literally told this guy, I don't know what to do. I need it done. And I didn't say outright I'll pay anything, but I said I need to get this done for tax purposes, business and tax purposes, and I need to pay. I want to pay you guys to do it. That's pretty much what I said. And the lack of creativity just is astounding to me. The lack of long-term thinking is astounding to me, especially since there are competitors out there who are cheaper than them. They were one of the most expensive options out there. Now I'm going with one of their cheaper options, competitors, to see what they can help me with. If they don't work out, there's another competitor um, that I will go to see if they can help me. So this, and again, QuickBooks is a big company, so they don't care about my $250 per month probably, but compounded over tens of thousands of people potentially, thousands of people potentially, that's a lot of money. Um, so, and again, there's several ways they could have done it. They could have kept me loyal to them and working with them. The reason I went to them in the first place is because they're a brand name, they're well known, their customer service so far with me has been great, and I already use the software. So, so they have a competitive advantage in that sense where they have switching costs with me because it costs me time, effort, resources, mental capacity to switch. But now, again, I need this done, so I have to switch. They're pretty much forcing me to switch. They're getting rid of their competitive advantage here. Is another way to look at this is they're removing their competitive advantage by removing their switching costs, long-term switching costs. And it just is very silly to me. Probably if you're a deep value investor like I am, and if you're watching this or listening to this, you probably are. It doesn't make very much sense to you either, from a competitive advantage standpoint, from a business standpoint, any of that. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this in the comments below. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. If you have a bookkeeping company that that is trustworthy and is good, please let me know. I don't know how to do this well. I don't want to do it. It takes up way too much of my time. I need the information for my businesses and to make better decisions, and I need it for tax purposes. So if you know a good bookkeeping company or you yourself are a bookkeeper, again, I need this done. So if you yourself are a trustworthy bookkeeper and you can send me referrals or send me testimonials and all that stuff, I will pay you to do it. I don't want to do it. So, so I hope this helps. I hope this illustration of value or illustration of thinking about the long term, thinking about competitive advantages, thinking about marketing, thinking about growing your business. This discussion on those things helped. As always, if you're listening on YouTube or watching on YouTube, sorry, make sure to like, love, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you're notified every time we release a new video, and we're releasing new videos all the time. If you're listening on the podcast, thanks so much for listening, and make sure to like, love, share, subscribe, download, and retweet, and all that good stuff. Deeply appreciate all that. And until next time, I'll talk to you again soon. Have a great day.